My beloved child, I set my gaze on you long before you found this message, because this moment isn't random. It's heaven's exact appointment. You didn't arrive here by accident. You were led. Every pause, every distraction that tried to pull you away was part of an unseen fight to keep you from what I'm releasing now. You don't know how many angels moved to clear this window so your heart could hear me. I wasn't waiting because I needed time. I was waiting until you were ready to hold what I've kept for you. Beauty is about to unfold that eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard. The breakthrough isn't on the way. It has already begun. Your choice to pause right now has opened the first release of a flood that's been held back for too long. Every moment you wondered if I was still with you. This is your answer. Yes, I was waiting. Not quietly, but with fire in my eyes, guarding your purpose with unshakable resolve. You were never abandoned in the silence. I watched heaven's clock count down to this unveiling. This message isn't just a word, it's a move. I'm changing the atmosphere around your life because you made room for me. I'm not far away, I'm closer than your breath, and I've come carrying gifts wrapped in glory. Don't look around for a sign. I am the sign. The stirring inside you, the tears rising, the warmth in your chest. These are holy confirmations. You stepped onto a threshold only faith could lead you to. Now that you're here, don't blink. What I'm doing will shift the very foundation of your story. Keep your spirit awake, because beauty is about to rise from ashes in a way that will silence those who dismissed you. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. This is the beginning of the beautiful thing I promised in the dark. There's a schedule you can't see that never bows to earthly clocks, and your steps have been arranged for this exact second. You feared you missed it, that the window closed or the chance expired, but that thought didn't come from me. I don't run on delay. I move in divine timing, and this is the holy instant where destiny meets readiness. Every twist you couldn't explain, and every long route was my hidden guidance protecting you from interception. I was covering the surprise, while others rushed to build their own momentum. I was laying something in you that cannot be shaken. You're not late. You're wrapped in grace, covered in obedience, carrying the fragrance of perseverance that only waiting can grow. I hid certain doors, not to punish you, but to preserve the power that would pour out when you reached this moment. You walked by faith while I formed a crown only you could wear. Don't mourn the time you thought you lost. What's coming will redeem every second with multiplied glory. The next chapter won't need permission, applause, or proof, because I myself stand as witness that you're walking into what was always yours. While others watched clocks, I watched hearts, and yours stayed true under pressure. I didn't bring you here to tease your hope, I brought you here to fill it. I hid the celebration until now because the enemy would have tried to sabotage what you couldn't yet protect. But now your spirit is trained, your discernment sharpened, your tears turned to oil. This hour isn't random. It's a culmination. Heaven's calendar speaks over you. Right on time, right on track, right on target. Don't second guess your arrival. I'm not just giving you a seat, I'm giving you keys. Not to watch, but to unlock. Not to survive, but to reign. Everything you endured in silence was not wasted. It was strategy to bring you here with nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing needing explanation. You've stepped into heaven's rhythm, and now the unseen acceleration begins. What took others years, I'm releasing in moments. Not because you earned it, but because you stayed when quitting seemed easier. I respond not to performance, but to persistence. Welcome to the moment your past can't follow. You didn't miss it. You arrived when the heavens opened. You don't have to wonder anymore. The battle in the spirit has shifted for you, and what was resisted is now released. What you feel isn't just hope, it's the echo of victory already declared. This isn't pending, it's in motion. You may not see all of it yet, but the unseen has bowed to my command. I sent angels ahead to flatten mountains that would have crushed you. I removed voices designed to drain your faith. As I prepared to lift you, alignments changed, plans turned, and unseen chains broke without your awareness. This word pulls back the curtain just enough to show you I wasn't silent. I was strategic. Every knot was a setup, not a shutdown. Every closed door rerouted you from a battlefield that would have slowed your blessing. Your name is written on miracles with dates already set. Nothing in your life is floating in uncertainty. It's tied to my yes that cannot be revoked. I command the winds, and they're blowing toward you now. I write seasons, and yours is being rewritten even as you breathe. Let your spirit receive this. It's not about to happen. It has started. My word never returns empty, and what I whispered in private will thunder in public. The shift you sensed isn't imagination. It's your spirit receiving what heaven has birthed. You felt unrest because chains were breaking. You felt fire because refining is finished. You felt silence because the trumpet was being raised. Now it sounds, not with noise, but with manifestation. No more delay, no more circling, no more asking when. The timing of man has been outrun by my command. I've made crooked places straight. I've gone ahead and left signs that will light up as you keep walking by faith. Though your hands look empty, they're full. Assignments, anointing, answers. You're about to carry what others gave up waiting for. The skies above you are heavy because the rain isn't a symbol, it's provision. Harvest is not an idea anymore. It's arriving with your name on every portion. Don't shrink. Don't look back for familiar pain. Everything that needed to move has moved. I've cleared the road not for a stroll, but for a soar. This isn't small. It's heaven's loud declaration. I chose you, I blessed you, I delivered you, and I'm launching you now. Before your words reached your lips, I leaned in. I caught your trembling thoughts before they formed a sentence, and kept them like treasure in heaven's rooms. You feared I was quiet, that your pleas faded into empty air, but every syllable etched eternity. When you prayed from pain no one else saw. You didn't need perfect words. Your surrender inked your petitions into my record. I didn't overlook your night tears or dismiss your silent cries. I held every ache and planted your cries in soil that will grow wonders. What felt like silence was me deepening your roots so the promise wouldn't collapse under glory's weight. I haven't been still. I've been steady, crafting and aligning threads you couldn't see to make a masterpiece that silences doubt and sparks faith in those who watched you suffer. You thought you were ignored, but you were remembered in the most intentional way. I counted your sighs not to highlight sadness, but to keep track of how many victories I would return to you. I remember the prayer you whispered when you were too tired to stand. I knelt with you. I remember the quiet, "Help me," and the I answered before morning came. I remember the prayer you buried, thinking it was too late. I'm breathing life into it now. Nothing asked in faith has disappeared. It's not lost, it's alive, being nourished under the surface until the right moment brings it into view. Delay was never denial. It was protection, preparation, perfection. I stored what you were too fragile to carry, and now I place it in your hands because waiting has made you strong. I didn't forget or misplace your request. I embraced it. I'm unsealing what has matured in my timing. Your eyes will see what your spirit kept hoping for. You're not chasing shadows anymore. You're standing in the light of fulfillment. Stay humble and keep your heart open, because what was once a whisper is now a roar. Every tear you cried alone became holy seed in my hands. I saw the times you held back sobs to look strong. The hours you stared at the ceiling with questions no one could answer. I noticed. I listened. While you wrestled with hidden wounds, I built a stage no enemy can tear down. A platform of redemption where your pain will echo my power. This is the hour I rise for you. Not in whispers, but in full view of every voice that doubted and every hand that let go. I let you cry privately because the unveiling needs no explanation. Buried tears became rivers watering the land I'm giving you. Where there was weeping, there will be wonder. I'm not only bringing comfort, I'm bringing compensation. The years that swallowed your laughter, the seasons that hardened your smile, the isolation that wrapped your soul, it's all turning now. Not because you forced it, but because you remained in me when escape seemed easier. While the world moved past, you kept your head down, serving, trusting, waiting. Now I lift your name, not as revenge, but as resurrection. This isn't exposure for applause, it's revealing for purpose. I'm showing what faith under pressure looks like. I'm unveiling gold formed in the furnace of silence. I'm shining on the vessel that held me in the storm. Every ignored effort, every unseen sacrifice, every time you were judged while still bleeding, none of it was missed. You won't have to explain yourself. My favor will speak louder than words. Those who walked away will watch as I pour blessings you can't hide. You're stepping into a chapter where your history no longer haunts you. It honors you. Those who pitied your brokenness will be stunned by your rebuilding. I'm not calling you to shrink in shame. I'm anointing you to rise in restoration. What I do now will carry your name to places your feet haven't reached. This is recompense from me, not from people. You cried in silence, but I'm answering with power before every witness I've gathered to see you shine. There's a holy acceleration breaking through the walls that held you back. I've removed the unseen hand that pressed against your progress. Every force that slowed you, every cycle that repeated what should have ended, every obstacle that made you question if I still remembered you. It's being overthrown right now. You're not stuck. What was paused is no longer pending. I've commanded timing to catch up with your faith. The pace is shifting from slow to supernatural. You're not waiting on breakthrough. It's racing toward you. While you wondered if anything would change, I was uprooting delays at the source. The weight you carried wasn't punishment. I was holding things until the moment would release something unstoppable. You didn't lose time. I collected every stolen second, and now I repay with multiplied outcomes. You'll see in days what others wait years for. You'll recover in weeks what seemed beyond repair. This isn't luck, it's a divine order carried out with angelic precision. I'm redeeming moments that felt wasted. Your waiting wasn't idle. I was filling the blessing with purpose, depth, and resilience, so it lasts when others crumble. I don't just give quickly, I give fully. Now that I've released what was restrained, you'll experience back-to-back fulfillment that defies logic. Expect alignment to come easily. Expect answers to rise before problems speak. Expect divine connections to find you before you knock. This is not normal flow. It's divine velocity, and it doesn't follow this world's rules, it bends them. You'll hear yes from mouths that once refused your name. You'll get calls that shift seasons. You'll watch chains fall without touching them, not by manipulation, but because you stood still long enough for me to prepare the way. I'm clearing paths you were never meant to pry open. Stop apologizing for how fast things change. This is what happens when heaven moves. Don't fear doors that open quickly. Don't doubt the blessing because it arrived suddenly. You're not skipping process. You're entering the reward I hid until your character could carry it. This is delivery by my hand, not by striving, not by begging, but by a sweep that answers years of faithfulness. You stood before places that wouldn't budge, doors that mocked your prayers and paths that shut like you didn't belong. You knocked until your knuckles ached, pleaded until your voice shook, hoped until your heart grew heavy, and nothing moved. What you didn't know is this: I never asked you to open it yourself. I didn't ask you to pick the lock of your destiny. That door didn't respond to you because it was reserved for my authority alone. Now, in this very hour, I place my hand on what people called sealed. With one breath from heaven, the barrier gives way, not with noise or struggle, but with reverence to the one who governs every entrance and exit. I'm not forcing it open. I'm unlocking it as the rightful owner. Every no you heard wasn't a rejection of your worth. It was guarding your access. You weren't shut out. You were protected from entering too soon. I don't give half-open doors. I give full invitations stamped with my seal. What's opening now isn't coincidence. It's permission that has matured. When I open, no voice, no system, no power in hell can close it. Walls that said not for you will echo welcome. What resisted you will now rise to serve you. What felt locked forever will swing wide because of your surrender, not your striving. No more begging at thresholds. Walk through with holy confidence. This isn't a random passage, it's the fulfillment of a guarded promise. I'm not just letting you in, I'm walking with you. On the other side isn't just opportunity, it's occupancy. I'm not opening this so you can visit, I'm establishing you in places you once thought were too high for your name. I've made you a key bearer, not a door knocker. Others will ask how you entered, and you'll say, it wasn't effort, it was favor. I open and none can shut. I grant entrance and none can argue. What you watched others cross while you waited is now your appointed crossing. No more standing behind glass, no more watching dreams at a distance. You're stepping into what only my authority could release. And as you step in, everything changes, not just around you, but inside you. This isn't only about doors. It's about what unlocks within you when you see I wasn't denying you. I was timing it for your rising. You've heard voices, inside and out, saying too late, too hard, too broken, too far. The enemy tried to fence you in with labels like unfixable and irreversible, hoping you'd agree, settle in the ruins, and call the wilderness home. But I specialize in the impossible. I don't avoid barren places. I speak life where death has lingered. I don't walk around shattered spaces. I touch what others call beyond repair and make it radiant. The battlefield where the enemy mocked your weakness is the platform where I now display my strength. You're not entering a barely surviving season. You're stepping into a miracle crafted in the fires of impossibility. The places you hid in shame will become the ground where my power is undeniable. I'm turning ridicule into revelation, closed chapters into living testimonies. This isn't a repair, it's a rebirth. You don't need proof to believe. Your faith is the invitation I need. You thought the mess disqualified you, but I was setting the stage for a move so clear no one could say it was human. My fingerprints are all over your breakthrough. It will be obvious. Even your enemies will know this could only be God. The storm that threatened to consume you became the backdrop for the light about to rise from your story. This won't just be your win, it will turn a generation. What they called hopeless, I call holy. What they labeled failure, I now call foundation. I waited until it looked impossible so no one else could take credit. I placed you at the edge of despair, not to abandon you, but to reveal myself in a way you'll never forget. You won't just say I keep promises. You'll know me as the one who walks into impossibility and writes a new ending. I'm not only working behind the scenes, I'm stepping into the center of your crisis to shift everything in a moment. When I do, it will shake atmospheres, alter timelines, and draw people to hunger for the God who makes the impossible bow. There are times I pour blessings widely, but this is not one of those times. What's being released now isn't random favor. It's tailor-made for your story. Heaven didn't misplace this miracle. It's assigned to you with certainty. You don't have to compete, prove, or strive. You already caught my attention with pure endurance and surrender when nothing made sense. This breakthrough was written into your journey before you were born, but it had to grow through fire, silence, and trials that tried to break you. Every hardship that tried to erase your name only made it bolder in my record. You weren't overlooked, you were reserved. Now in this unveiling, what I prepared won't land in someone else's hands. It can't be intercepted or delayed again. I wrapped your breakthrough in timing that fits you, and the sound it makes when it arrives will be personal. It will find you if you hide, chase you if you hesitate, and rest on you even if you feel unready. What's coming isn't borrowed hope. It's your birthright. This isn't a general blessing that brushes by. It's deliberate and intimate. It knows your voice, recognizes your spirit, and carries the authority of my promise. No one else can live the fruit of what you've labored for. The atmosphere is shifting to make room for this move. I'm closing counterfeits, cutting wrong alignments, and clearing space so what belongs to you can be planted without interference. Don't doubt this moment. It's not too good to be true. It's too ordered to miss. The weight you carried wasn't punishment. It was proof you were chosen to carry what others couldn't. This breakthrough took time, so it would be undeniable. It won't look like you expected. It will exceed it. You won't have to claim it loudly. The glow of my presence on it will testify. Watch what resisted you rise to welcome you. Doors won't only open, they'll swing wide at your arrival. People who ignored your calling will witness your rising. Situations that drained you will now supply your purpose. The pages are turning fast because hesitation is over. What begins now cannot be undone. What descends has your name on it, and this time, nothing will stop it. I watched you choose integrity without applause. You turned from shortcuts when compromise felt easy. In quiet places, you still said yes, not for credit, but out of love. You walked the hidden road with trembling steps, not knowing when daylight would come, but trusting me anyway. Now I step in to reveal what I've stored because of your quiet surrender. Unseen sacrifices become public seeds that will sprout in full view. What I release isn't about performance, it's about posture. While others performed for attention, you positioned for purpose. While they chased platforms, you chased my presence. I remember every time you gave without needing to be seen, every time you blessed when it cost you, every time you chose love when bitterness pressed in. Those moments were holy to me. Now I breathe on them, not in shadows but in light. I won't just whisper my delight, I'll display it. What was done in hidden obedience will break like morning sun. Those who never saw the price will witness the glory I place on your life. This isn't vanity. It's validation that I reward what people overlook. You don't have to defend your process or explain your path. I will unveil, I will lift, I will announce. This season will feel like tables turning in your favor. Not for revenge, but for justice. Those who counted you out will be there when I call your name forward. You will walk into rooms that once ignored you and find honor prepared. What was hidden will shine, what was quiet will sing, and what was sown in tears will shout with joy. You didn't obey for applause, but I'll give you an inheritance no critic can deny. The soil you tilled in secret now bears fruit that cannot be hidden. Watch how I raise you, not to prove your worth, but to reveal my faithfulness. The reward isn't only what you receive, it's who you became when no one was watching. I crown that process openly before witnesses. I chose to see what I do with a heart that stayed true in silence. I saw how this last season pressed the breath out of you. It wasn't simple tiredness, it was a deep weariness that tried to convince you hope was too heavy. You gave everything and the ground stayed hard. You kept going while silence echoed louder than encouragement. You searched for strength in places that used to refresh you, only to find emptiness. Hear me now. What looked like loss was a sacred burial, not of your dreams, but of my seeds. The soil that drank your tears was saturated with promise. I never wasted your pain, I planted it. What felt like an ending was the start of a deeper root system. The drought didn't destroy you, it deepened you. Dryness didn't mean death, it meant preparation. You weren't being punished, you were positioned. While others moved fast on shallow ground, I anchored you in depths storms can't touch. Now that weary soil is about to break open. What you couldn't see during the crushing will rise with power and purpose. Every breath, every limp step, every yes through tears built something eternal. I'm not only giving a breakthrough, I'm giving a resurrection. Your testimony won't just stand, it will thrive from the place you feared would end you. What tried to drain you will declare my faithfulness. What looked empty will sound like abundance. People will ask how, and you'll point to the ground they called cursed and say, right there, he met me. I'm not skipping your wilderness, I'm transforming it, not by erasing memory, but by redeeming meaning. Your pain becomes the place where glory takes root, not just for you, but for others walking a similar night. I'll use your scars as signs of mercy. Your story will speak, not with bitterness, but with courage. This isn't a return to old, it's a rise into new. The old season didn't break you, it prepared the field for harvest. Be ready, the soil is opening, the roots have held, the fruit is forming. The testimony will be undeniable. Not because it was easy, but because you stayed when leaving made sense. Now I breathe on what felt forgotten, and beauty rises from your weariness without apology. They looked at your situation and closed the book. They stamped your story finished because it didn't match their version of success. They made judgments wrapped as prophecy and assumed you reached your limit. But I don't answer to human punctuation. Where they put periods, I place commas. Where they declared final, I open a new volume no one expected. I don't restore based on popularity, I restore by purpose. What they saw as failure, I use as foundation. I don't discard broken narratives, I redeem them until they shine. You're not the total of their assumptions, you're the unfolding of my promise. I heard their words when they thought you were done. I saw the looks, the false concern, the distance when plans didn't go their way. They walked away at the exact moment I began my greatest work. Now I rise as author and finisher, not to argue, but to reveal what only I can write. I'm removing shame from your story. I'm burning pages soaked in fear and smallness. I'm replacing tears with declarations of victory. What I do now will surprise those who boxed you in. Your name won't be tied to what went wrong, but to what only heaven could restore. When I write, I don't just repair, I elevate. I take mourning and make monuments. I take chapters you wanted to forget and fill them with miracles. This isn't a revision, it's a resurrection. You're not edited for survival, you're rewritten for legacy. I don't recycle the past, I raise purpose from within it. Those who counted you out will witness a narrative drenched in favor. You won't need to plead your case. Your life will be the evidence. You won't argue your worth. I'll show it like sunlight after a storm. The ending they planned is undone. You're not walking toward defeat. You're stepping into a rewrite that leaves no page untouched by glory. Lift your head. The final word is mine, and I'm still writing. There were nights when darkness held you tight and you forgot what light felt like. The silence was louder than comfort, and the ground beneath you felt unsure. You questioned everything, your direction, your purpose, even my nearness. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. What you didn't see, and what the enemy hoped you'd miss, was that in your loneliest hour, I laid the groundwork for your greatest change. I don't only work in sunlight, I grow life in shadows. While you grieved what was falling apart, I nurtured what would rise from the ashes. I wasn't waiting for you to get strong. I planted the seed of your next season deep in your surrender. It didn't look like progress, and it didn't feel like breakthrough. But every tear and tremble watered what I had begun. You thought you were buried, but I was shielding roots. You assumed silence meant stillness. But I was arranging encounters, resources, and shifts in the spirit that are now coming together to bloom beyond storms. The pain that took your words wasn't the end. It was a pause while I rewrote your rhythm. You couldn't see it, but roots were gripping deeper. The ground that tried to swallow you now trembles, not with judgment, but with resurrection. Everything planted while you wept is breaking the surface. You won't have to force it. You'll see it bloom before your eyes, and the fragrance will carry my mercy and timing. This isn't a miracle for show. It's a sign to every soul who thinks the dark means I'm silent. I use night to prepare dawn. I use pain to prepare promise. You, beloved, are about to walk into a garden watered by endurance. You didn't realize how much was growing in the quiet, but now I lift the veil. What once looked dead will shout with color. What felt cursed will shine with redemption. You'll trace every petal back to the moment you thought was your lowest, and realize it was when heaven whispered, "Let it begin." When it felt like everything slipped through your fingers, opportunities faded, connections vanished, hopes crumbled. You thought you failed. You questioned your timing, your discernment, your worth, wondering if you missed something. See through my eyes now. What you called loss was a divine repositioning. You weren't set back, You were pulled back to gain momentum, like an arrow before it flies. I allowed the stretch, the tension, and the stillness, because your next move isn't a step, it's a launch. I wasn't punishing you. I was saving your strength for the altitude ahead. Every shut door, faded connection, and paused dream was part of the launch sequence. I couldn't let you settle where you didn't belong or build where I was tearing down. I couldn't let you pour into empty wells. You didn't lose. I intervened before the wrong thing rooted too deep. The setbacks weren't losses. They were pullbacks, preparing you for places you never imagined. I've prepared a path that needs a supernatural wind, not human effort. That's why things you leaned on were stripped away. I wanted you to soar, not stumble, to be free, not tangled, to have hands empty of what was fading so I could place what will flourish. Now that the tension has built, now that you trust me when everything shakes, now that your heart can hold more than survival, it's time. I'm releasing you into a speed of purpose where delays watch you pass by. You're rising, not by the strength of your wings, but by the power behind the pull. When you arrive where I've been aiming you, you'll realize nothing was lost. It was stored. Nothing was wasted. It was woven. Nothing was taken. It was traded for something eternal. Get ready for launch. You're not falling. You're flying farther than they expected and faster than you dreamed. I never ignored the ache in your chest. The silent storms that kept you awake were an invisible weight that made breathing feel heavy. I saw you carry wounds others didn't acknowledge. I heard the questions you feared to speak. Why did it hurt so long? Why did I allow tears to run so deep? Why didn't I stop what broke you? Listen closely. I didn't waste a single drop of your pain. I shaped it into a message the world needs. The place your soul was pierced is becoming a well of revelation. The fire that tried to consume you refined your voice. I'm turning agony into authority. You won't speak theory, you'll speak from encounter. The cracks in your heart are channels for my oil. Your scars are anointed with clarity and calling. This pain wasn't pointless, it was prophetic. I let it go deeper so your reach could go wider. I let you feel what others couldn't, so when you speak, chains break and burdens lift. Your story isn't just a story, it's a doorway. What tormented you will teach others to trust me. Your sorrow made space for a mantle of healing. I'm not giving a platform, I'm giving a ministry born in intimacy. You won't speak from ego. You'll speak from presence. Your hands aren't marked with shame. They're marked with strength to pull others from pits you once cried in. The season that crushed you now crowns you, not with pride, but with power. Not with status, but with substance. The world won't turn away, not because of charisma, but because of the weight your journey carries. I've placed fire in your words, grace in your tone, and truth in your gaze. When you walk in, the atmosphere will shift. Not because you were never broken, but because I rebuilt you stronger. Watch how what tried to silence you now amplifies heaven through you. Watch how those who mocked your tears come needing the oil those tears created. I'm commissioning you, not despite your pain, but because of what it shaped in you. From this moment, your sorrow serves a purpose that cannot be undone. When you speak, even the silence will listen. There were times you stood at the edge of what you wanted and heard a firm no. You knocked with trembling faith and doors stayed closed. You reached out to people and plans that seemed right and were left empty. You wondered if you did something wrong, if you weren't enough, or if I ignored your desire. Hear this. Every denial was deliberate. Every closed opportunity was a wall I placed to protect you from distractions that would pull you off course. You didn't fail. Those moments were filtered by love. The relationships you thought would last, the roles you hoped to hold, the paths that seemed perfect, they were never meant to carry your purpose. If I had let you step into promises too soon, they would have drained your strength, dimmed your fire, and twisted your calling. I didn't say no because you were undeserving. I said no because you mattered too much to settle. The no wasn't rejection. It was redirection toward the yes I designed before time. You're closer than you think to that yes opening. It won't look familiar. It will be better. It will arrive with clarity, peace, and weight you're ready to hold. You won't have to force it. It will fit. Not because it's easy, but because it aligns with who I made you. My yes isn't a maybe. It carries resources, favor, and timing that make past rejections make sense. What once stung with confusion will glow with understanding. You'll trace your detours and see my fingerprints. Tears you cried after hearing no will become the river carrying you to the door where I say yes, without condition, delay, or need to explain. Those who said you missed your moment will watch you walk through the door only I could open. This yes won't just bless you. It will unlock doors for others waiting to see if obedience still matters. You waited, you wondered, and now the one yes is coming. It will be worth every no. I'm not here to cover wounds with quick comfort. I've come to rebuild what betrayal, disappointment, and despair tore down. I see the deep cracks no one noticed, the bruises from angry words, and the hollow spaces left when promises broke. You didn't just lose strength. You lost trust, confidence, and belonging. I don't blame you for feeling fractured, but what I'm doing now goes beyond easing pain. I'm restoring your structure. I'm healing the foundation of who you are, not to make you what you were, but to make you stronger than ever. I'm going to the roots, removing what never belonged and rebuilding with grace that can't be shaken. I speak to every part of you that was told it wasn't enough and call it beautiful, whole, and worthy. You see damage? I see a vessel I'm shaping for glory. Every time you were torn down, I prepared the materials to raise you higher with my strength. You won't walk with a hidden limp forever. You won't live with fractures in your faith. You won't pretend to be okay while breaking inside. I'm replacing the forced smile with real joy. I'm reshaping your identity, not around pain, but around purpose. Pieces you thought were too scattered are coming together. When I finish, you won't just feel restored. You'll be able to carry what used to crush you. Voices that made you shrink will have no place in this new structure. Labels they placed will fall like dust. I'm removing survival's framework and building abundance. You won't just function, you'll flourish. You won't just walk, you'll run. Others will feel safe in your presence because you walked through fire and became shelter. I'm not just fixing what broke. I'm building something unshakable from the ruins. Where others saw rubble, I saw material. Now I lift my hand over your life and say, reconstruction begin. From inside out, from foundation to future, from wound to wonder. You won't be defined by what broke you, but by who rebuilt you. You heard them laugh when you stumbled. You felt their judgments, their side glances, their whispers. They didn't just doubt your calling, they enjoyed your fall. They questioned if you were truly chosen. I saw how you carried that weight, fighting the storm and the shame they pinned to your name. You stayed quiet, not because you were weak, but because you waited for me to speak. Now I will, not with arguments, but with demonstration. The restoration I bring will silence their words, not by force, but by fruit. I'll lift you without announcement. I'll bless you with such precision that even critics stand stunned. They'll see doors open they tried to block. They'll watch favor find you where they said you'd never go. They'll see me clothe you with honor where they stripped you with mockery. I don't need to defend your name. I'll show my glory on your life, and it will speak for you. Those who said finished will watch you flourish. Those who said too broken will see too favored to stop. I remember how they tried to define you by your lowest moment, but I'm rewriting your reputation with heaven's ink. Your identity isn't tied to old wounds. It's tied to my love, power, and truth. I'm silencing lies with evidence. The proof of my presence will be louder than their opinions. You don't have to say a word. Your elevation won't come by manipulation. It comes by manifestation. I'm not building a platform for revenge. It's a stage for redemption. I'm doing this so the world knows I stayed faithful even when they left. The restoration will be so thorough and radiant that your name won't be a target. It will be a testimony. You won't need to prove yourself. Glory will answer questions you never should have carried. Let them see. Let them watch. Let them wonder. I'll turn what they doubted into the place where my glory rests. When they look again, they won't recognize what I've done. It won't be a comeback. It will be a complete transformation by grace they never thought you'd receive. They pointed to your past as if it disqualified you, highlighting pain, confusion, and regret. They judged your timing, your failures, and your shortfalls as if any of it could erase the purpose I planted before you were wounded. They don't understand. I don't hide from flaws, I work through them. I don't discard the imperfect, I show redemption through them. I never needed perfection, only willingness. Even when you didn't feel worthy, you leaned in. Even when shame shouted, you kept your heart open. That's what I saw. While others reduced you to mistakes, I placed a new mantle on your life. I wasn't repelled by ashes, I formed a crown from them. Every scar, misstep, and broken place they used to dismiss you is now the material I use to confirm your authority. You didn't endure all that to be sidelined. You walked through it to carry a power no one can fake. Rejection that labeled you now fuels the elevation I'm arranging. Those who thought you had nothing to offer will watch me pour through your life in ways that can't be explained, only encountered. I use the weak to confound the strong, the overlooked to outpace the platform, the broken to break barriers. I didn't choose you because you were polished. I chose you because pain didn't harden your heart. I'm not ashamed of your story. I'm putting it on display. Not to shame you, but to expose the lie that says you must be perfect to be powerful. Don't hide the process. I'm blessing the parts they told you to conceal. I'll let your healing shine through the cracks they tried to cover with criticism. This is how I reveal myself. Not through the flawless, but through the faithful. You've been faithful. Not always confident, but always returning. Not always certain, but always reaching for me when everything in you said to disappear. That heart is what I raise and anoint. I'm using what they counted against you as proof you were never disqualified. You were destined. While others gave up on you, and even when you doubted yourself, I held every thread of promise I wove in you. I didn't flinch at your confusion or back away from your delays. Every time you struggled to believe, I stayed with my original design for you, unmoved, convinced of your worth. I've always seen you through completion, not failure. I don't look at you through stumbles. I see you through eternal purpose. I didn't start with you hoping you would make it. I started knowing you would. I planted dreams to lead you back to me when everything else faded. You thought I was disappointed in your weakness, but I drew closer, whispering strength when you stood on the edge of giving up. I believe in you, not because of your achievements, but because of what I placed in you. My image is in you. My breath is in you. My spirit rests on you. Even when you feel empty, you aren't too complicated for me. Your mess doesn't intimidate me. I've walked with you through every season, silent nights, restless days, invisible burdens, and I never wavered about your calling. I don't second-guess those I choose. I chose you before your first cry touched earth. When you didn't know your next step, I stood beside you, holding the plan you didn't have words for. When your voice trembled in prayer, I heard courage under the doubt. Even when you thought you failed me, I saw the fight in you to hold on. That's why I'm here, not to list your shortfalls, but to show you how fiercely I've stayed. My love isn't fragile, it's fierce. My belief in you isn't conditional, it's covenant. I don't wait for perfection, I move through surrender. Don't disqualify yourself by their measures. Their opinion can't override my affirmation. I speak it again. I believe in you, in the calling I placed in you, in the fire I lit before the world touched you, in the future I secured. No storm could drown my choice. You are still chosen, still rising. I haven't stopped believing, not for a moment. They assumed your absence meant failure. Your silence meant you were empty. Your hidden season meant you were forgotten. I was the one who pulled you back, not to punish, but to preserve. I hid you in my presence while storms raged. I covered your name in certain circles because exposure would have come too soon. I didn't let others see your full potential because early applause would have crushed what I was forming. You didn't disappear. You were wrapped in my wings. You weren't erased. You were refined where no one could contaminate the work. I let the spotlight miss you because it doesn't build strength. Stillness does. I taught you to breathe under the surface, to hear my whisper without applause, to listen to me louder than the crowd. Now you step out, not desperate to be seen, but rooted to sustain what's coming. The hiding was holy. In it, I removed voices that diluted your confidence and replaced them with my truth. I stripped labels and rewrote identity with words spoken in eternity. You thought no one noticed, but heaven watched every quiet obedience. You feared you missed timing, but I reset your rhythm to match my movement. You assumed delay meant denial, but I guarded you from distractions that would have destroyed the clarity I placed in you. Even loneliness had purpose. It pushed you to lean on me. Even isolation was divine. It drew you into intimacy no platform offers. Now I lift the covering, not because you begged to be seen, but because you're ready to carry visibility. Those who thought you were disqualified will be stunned by what has matured beneath the surface. You weren't missing, you were marinating. You weren't forgotten, you were fortified. I kept you from rooms, not because you were unworthy, but because they weren't worthy of what I was preparing to release through you. As I bring you forward, you won't rise with noise, but with weight. You won't need to shout. Your presence will carry heaven's authority. You were hidden for such a time, and nothing was wasted. Those who looked past you will look again when I reveal what grew in secret. It cannot be ignored. When they left without explanation, when they turned away after you poured your heart out, when those you trusted stepped back without hesitation, you felt a deep emptiness. You asked what you did wrong, what flaw they saw, what moment turned affection into distance. Hear this. Their leaving wasn't your failure, it was my rescue. What looked like abandonment was my hand pulling you from ties that couldn't go where I'm taking you. I let rejection fall like a blade to cut you free from what was quietly strangling your spirit. I love you too much to keep you loyal to what was leaking your purpose. You called it connection. I saw contamination. You called it a bond. I saw a barrier. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. I allowed their absence not to break you, but to free you. Yes, it hurt. Your heart was pure, your intentions true, but their inability to honor that wasn't a measure of your value. It revealed their limits. They couldn't carry the weight of who you're becoming, so I let them drop the assignment before they distorted your identity. I redirected you through the holy pain of misalignment corrected. You were never meant to beg for a seat at tables I didn't build. I removed you from circles that would dim your light, from partnerships that would thin your anointing, from voices that applauded only when you were quiet. Now you're walking into a holy exchange. What left is being replaced with covenant, not convenience. The glory I'm leading you into is too heavy to share with those who love your potential, but not your process. The next room needs people who don't flinch when you grow, who don't compete with your calling, who don't shake your voice to feel taller. You're not alone because you're unlovable. You're alone because I'm clearing space for the loyal, aligned, assigned. This isn't punishment. It's positioning. What felt like rejection was redirection to a place where glory rests and your name is spoken without manipulation. You didn't lose anything. I saved you from delay disguised as loyalty. What comes next won't drain you. It will ignite you. Those who left cleared the path for those I'm sending. Lift your head. That pain was prophecy. The wind was witness. The glory ahead will make every tear worth it. He celebrated too soon. He mistook your isolation for defeat, your silence for surrender, your pain as proof you were broken. When your hands paused and your confidence dipped, he thought he'd won. He saw your stillness and called it the end. He didn't realize I placed you beneath the surface for a holy reason. You weren't buried to vanish. You were planted to emerge stronger, deeper, filled with a power he couldn't predict. While dirt covered you, I worked in the unseen. The pressure he sent to crush you drove your roots deeper into my presence. The darkness he sent to blind you became the womb where vision formed. The weight he hoped would silence you has amplified the sound of victory. A seed doesn't die in the ground, it multiplies. That's what's happening in you. You're not just coming back, you're rising with something new. Not recycled strength, but resurrection life. Not surface faith, but unshakable authority. I allowed the burial because what's bursting forth leaves no doubt this is my move. The soil that held you is splitting. The roots that held through drought are pulling you into light. You'll emerge with beauty so clear it exposes the lie that you were finished. You were forming. You weren't forgotten. You were prepared for elevation that only comes from depth. I call you out of hiding into release. What grew in secret will speak in public. Voices that mocked your silence will be silenced by fruit. You won't rise as who you were. You'll rise as who I ordained. The enemy will tremble, not just because you survived, but because you multiplied in the dark. The gift I placed matured in secret, and now it will flourish in sight. Get ready, the earth is responding, the ground is trembling, your roots held, your promise endured. The place where you were planted will be the stage of your rising. What was called burial, I call breakthrough. Even while you were hidden, heaven was active. Conversations about you have happened in rooms your feet haven't entered. Strategic spaces of favor, influence, and alignment. I've already stepped in for you. You don't know how many tables I've prepared where your name was honored. I whispered your identity to decision makers who don't know your story but feel your assignment. I stirred the hearts of leaders to search for someone like you. You felt overlooked, but you were observed by eyes you don't see. You wondered if your voice matters, but your name has been carried on angel winds into preparations you didn't even pray for. The world says promote yourself and shout louder. I've been your advocate behind the veil. I spoke for you when no one else would. Now doors open, not because of who you know, but because of who knows you. Not because of influence, but because of intimacy with me. You haven't entered those rooms because I've perfected the environment. The timing had to mature, hearts had to soften, atmospheres had to align with your anointing. I don't send my chosen into rooms not ready to receive them. You're being ushered in, not as a guest, but as an answer. The favor that finds you will feel unreal, but it's what I've been arranging. You don't have to pry doors. I am the door. You don't have to chase opportunity. I've assigned it to recognize you. Places that once denied you will feel new because you're not coming as overlooked. You're coming as appointed. Don't be surprised when calls come, when opportunities appear, when unfamiliar ground feels like home. It's not random, it's revelation. Your name is now where it matters. You'll see that my preparation has outrun your understanding. I've been ahead, building bridges, clearing paths, softening hearts. You're not just arriving to favor, you're stepping into fulfillment. In every room, they'll recognize my power resting on you and know you were sent. You've asked for answers, for a way through, for relief from the weight on your soul. You imagined rescue in familiar shapes and faces, invisible signs and fixes that made sense. But hear me, the help that's coming isn't here to meet your expectations, it's here to reveal me. You asked for a ladder. I'm becoming the ground under your feet. You prayed for someone to save you. I'm stepping in myself. Not with noise, but with presence that changes everything. You expected open doors, I'm arriving in closed rooms. Provision won't come wrapped in what your senses expect. It will come as peace that calms confusion and strength that fills you without explanation. What I send may not match your list, but it matches your need exactly. I'll send people you didn't expect, voices you didn't ask for, resources from places that once ignored you. I'll move through ordinary moments carrying miracles. The help I send is holy. It doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't always look like what you imagined, but it is perfect and divine. I'll walk into chaos as clarity. I'll move through your fatigue as wind. I'll answer your ache with the comfort of my nearness. I'm not just sending what fixes the situation. I'm forming your faith. I'm removing your dependence on the familiar so you can see I am the helper, not just the one who sends help. When it arrives, it won't be late or shallow. It will be soaked in glory and purpose, bringing more than relief. It will bring revelation. My help doesn't just lift the burden. It teaches you to never carry it alone again. So when it comes, in a whisper or a whirlwind, don't reject it because it looks different. Look again. Listen again. The answer is here, unexpected but unmistakably me. This is how I move. Not always loud, but always on time. Not always as requested, but always what restores. You didn't miss it. I've been moving all along. What comes now won't just save you. It will teach you how I show up when no one else does. You've tried to carry it, fix it, fight it, and force it. Now everything changes, not because of what you do, but because of what I've already set in motion. The shift won't come from striving, it will come from surrender. This isn't about your hustle, it's about my hand. My spirit is stepping in. Where your plans ran out, I'm writing strategy. Where your momentum faded, I'm releasing propulsion. You'll feel it. The atmosphere will change. Not because you pushed harder, but because I breathed on it. I'm not asking you to figure it all out. I'm asking you to yield, to let me reroute what you tried to force forward. Your timeline is not your lifeline. Your strength is not your salvation. I don't need your performance. I want your posture. This turning point won't look like a loud announcement. It will look like peace taking the lead, like grace doing the heavy lifting, like doors opening at my touch. Let go of the weight you were never meant to carry. Lift your eyes, open your hands. I am here, and I am moving. And nothing can stop what I have begun. It will start as a deep stirring that doesn't seem to add up, a quiet knowing that rises even when nothing around you has shifted yet. You'll recognize it by the stillness I place in you before the waters part. You are not being asked to carry what only my spirit can command. The mountain that would not move is now yielding to the whisper of my presence. The storm that refused to stop is bowing to the calm my spirit releases. I am not distant or detached. I am an active power moving through the very fabric of your situation. You will not have to push conversations, beg for openings, or chase what is yours. My spirit is sending divine alignment. No person can interrupt. Acceleration is coming that won't demand exhaustion. You will do more with less because it won't be you alone. It will be me moving through you. I'm dismantling pressure and replacing it with promise. I'm canceling weariness and releasing wonders. I'm quieting fear and ushering in faith that doesn't rely on sight. This is your pivot, not to do more. Buttle it Nadao, what only I can you have tried, you have wept, you have done your part. Now step back and the wind of my spirit take over. You are not about to figure it out. You are about to be carried into it. You're not going to barely survive. You're about to watch me complete what none else could start. And when it unfolds, you will know it was not your push but my presence, not your plan but my power, not your might but my spirit. You've carried what you thought was too flawed, too messy, too complicated to be used by me. You've replayed scenes you wish you could rewrite. Choices, detours, broken pieces you feared would trail you like shadows. You assumed the pain disqualified you. The weakness disqualified you. The times you almost gave up disqualified you. But I am here to say what I see when I look at you. None of those things remove you from my plan. In fact, I am using the very areas you thought were too stained to shine. My favor is not based on perfection. It flows from surrender. I'm not looking for the ones who never fell. I'm raising those who stood again when they could have stayed down. You didn't get it all right, but you stayed within reach. You wrestled through shame and still whispered my name. That is what I honor. That is what I anoint. What you believed counted you out is now counting you in. Every moment you labeled disqualification, I am turning into divine credibility. Not only am I not holding it against you, I am transforming it into the backdrop where my glory shines brightest. The situation you tried to bury in silence, I am using it as the launch pad for your influence. The tears you cried in regret, I am mixing them into the oil for your new assignment. The failures that mocked you, I am weaving them into the framework of a story that sets others free. Those who walked away when they saw your brokenness will watch as I raise you up, not in spite of your wounds, but through them. The labels they placed on you are falling like chains. The inner voices that said you're not enough are being drowned out by heaven's affirmation. I have never needed a flawless vessel, only a yielded one. And now that you've released the need to perform, I am releasing favor no one can explain. This is not only recovery, it is reversal. What looked like a setback becomes the sign that you are marked. Not because you were strong, but because you let me in. My favor will fall right where you once tried to hide. You are stepping into a level where your past doesn't chase you. It serves you, not as baggage, but as a banner of my faithfulness. I am rewriting the narrative that was used to limit you, and my version ends in victory. You are not disqualified, you are divinely chosen. And now the favor you assumed belonged to someone else is resting on you. Stop measuring your life by what they built, how far they've gone, or how loudly they're seen. You looked around and wondered why others accelerated while you felt held in delay. You were never behind. You have been walking by a clock that isn't earthly, it is holy. I've been pacing you, not punishing you. I've been aligning moments to a rhythm that doesn't follow the world's calendar but fully fulfills heaven's agenda. There were things to clear out before you arrived, people to remove so they would not distort your promise, systems to shake until your presence could no longer be ignored. It seemed like nothing moved, but everything was orchestrated for a precise unveiling. I did not design you to miss your moment. I designed you to arrive exactly when glory breaks open. What is happening now is not slow, it is sovereign. I hid you in stillness so your emergence carries weight. Not the weight that burdens, but the kind that shifts atmospheres. Your steps have not been wasted. The time you called empty was full of preparation you could not yet understand. Every prayer, every battle, every waiting season refined your spirit to carry what is about to flood your life. I am not looking for the fastest, I am looking for the faithful. And you, beloved, have been faithful. Faithful in the quiet, faithful when it seemed everyone else moved. Faithful when you felt stuck, but were actually stationed. Now get ready to move, not in panic, not in desperation, but in alignment. Things will begin to happen quickly. Connections will form suddenly. What was stagnant will stir with power. Dreams that felt distant will become real in hours, not years. You will not chase what's coming, it is drawn to your obedience. What seemed delayed was reserved. Now that the appointment has arrived, you'll see why I slowed it down to speed it up at the right time. You are not late, you are in sync with the surge of my spirit. Do not run to catch up. Stand where you are and watch how I align your steps with miracles that waited for this very hour. You are not behind. You are right on time for a season that changes everything. You have been running, striving, stretching thin, trying to make sense of what's next. You feared missing the moment, falling behind, watching it slip through your fingers again. I'm not asking you to hurry. I'm calling you to be still enough to receive what only stillness can carry. The next miracle will not arrive with panic. It will come clothed in peace. I'm not sending a blessing you must wrestle for. I am delivering something so complete, so tailored, it will settle into your life without chaos. My gifts do not come with anxiety attached. When I move, it comes as still waters, not storms stirred by self-effort. The pressure to perform was never from me. That was fear trying to manipulate your trust. I am not measuring your pace. I am protecting your place. This miracle is not slipping away. It is waiting for you to slow down enough to recognize it. I am not interested in your hustle. I want your attention. You do not need to make it happen. I have already spoken it into being. I am aligning the atmosphere around you, so what comes is not just powerful, but peaceful. You won't need to chase, bargain, or prove yourself. I know your heart, and I am answering what you could not put into words. It will not come in the noise of striving, but in the hush of surrender. Stop fearing that time is running out. I created time and hold it in my hand. You will not miss what is yours. You will not be overlooked in the crowd. I am placing this in your life in a way that even your enemies will see it was not manufactured. It was me. This miracle will bless you and teach you that my rhythm is rest, not rush. The joy I am releasing will be deep and steady like a river. You will sleep in peace, walk with confidence, and speak with clarity, not because everything is perfect, but because my presence fills every space this miracle touches. Let go of the anxiety. Release the timelines. Silence the inner critic that says you must keep pushing or you'll miss it. You won't. You are in the posture I need. Open hands, open heart, a spirit at rest in my sovereignty. This miracle is not a test of your strength. It is a testimony of my tenderness. It is not late. It is not rushed. It is right on time, wrapped in peace that anchors you long after the blessing unfolds. Every moment you thought was empty was full of intentional resistance that stretched you, strengthened you, and built something lasting beneath the surface. You didn't see it, but I had you in a sacred gym where faith was trained in silence, trust was refined under pressure, and obedience was tested without applause. You thought you were stalled. You thought nothing was happening. I was building capacity where no one could see. I was enlarging endurance, expanding your heart, sharpening your discernment, and teaching you to hear me when everything else went quiet. You were not abandoned, you were equipped. Now what felt like delay will show itself as development. The weight you carried wasn't meant to crush you, it prepared you. You will lift things in the spirit others can't because of what you learned in stillness. While some ran to platforms, you stayed planted. While others chased validation, you chased me. Now I'm unveiling strength you didn't know you had. Strength born not of striving, but of sacred stillness. A season when you waited and watched others rise was not punishment. It was preparation. You learned to stay rooted when winds blew wildly. You became a vessel that could hold the weight of glory without cracking. You thought I held you back, but I was holding you steady. The muscles of your faith were built under pressure, so that when I launch you, you will not collapse under blessing. Do not resent the weight. It gave you spiritual stamina. Do not despise the stillness. It trained your ears to my voice in ways noise never could. As doors swing open, you won't enter shaky. You will step in steady, shoulders strong to carry what others would drop. The waiting room was not a waste. It was a workshop. I did not punish your purpose. I polished it. I did not forget your request. I fortified your response. Now I release you into what you longed for, not as the one who doubted, but as one matured by process, anchored in identity, infused with power. You did not just survive the wait, you grew into it. Now strengthened in the secret place, you will move in public with authority, humility, and the weight that proves the weight was worth it. The winds that howled through your peace, the waves that threatened your progress, the moments where it all seemed to fall apart, I saw it all. I saw you stand in chaos with fragile hope in your hands. I saw the tears you wiped alone, the wordless prayers, the sleepless nights under the weight of it all. Even then, especially then, I was present. Not waiting on the other side of the storm, but in it with you, commanding what you could not see and calming what you could not control. Now the storm that tried to steal your voice is being silenced by mine. The elements that raged are shifting, not because the storm chose to stop, but because I have spoken. I never left you to the wind. I trained you to hear my whisper over thunder. Now that you've learned to stay anchored in fierce shaking, I speak peace that not only calms waves, it establishes a new order. You are stepping from survival into sovereignty. What overwhelmed you is losing its grip. What looked like an ending is becoming a passage. You did not weather that storm for nothing. It prepared you to reign over territory fear once claimed. The clouds are parting, not only outwardly, but in your spirit. You are not who you were when it started. You walk with new authority, quiet yet undeniable, not boastful, but unbreakable. I am not only calming the storm, I am promoting you through it. Every shaking was allowed to shake off what cannot go into your next season. Every gust that screamed you're failing was clearing the air for what's coming. Now with one word, I shift everything. The forecast over your life has changed. Where there was confusion, there will be clarity. Where there was turbulence, there will be tranquility. Those watching who thought you'd fall will see the calm arrive and wonder how you're still standing. You will know it was never your strength. It was my presence keeping you grounded, and my voice holding back what could have drowned you. Now you will stand not with fear, but with fire. The storm bowed, and you are still here. What I'm doing in you is not only a breakthrough for today, it shifts the path for those after you. The weight you carried, the cycles you broke, the hidden battles were not just personal, they were assignments. You stood at the edge of patterns that tried to pass through your bloodline, and with trembling hands prayed, "It ends with me." I heard you. I marked your decision. I surrounded you with angels when the fight grew too intense to see clearly. You did not know it, but you stood in the gap between what was and what could be, blocking the repeat of what destroyed others. Now I move through that obedience. I'm not only lifting the burden, I'm building a new legacy through your surrender. Habits that ruled your home will lose their hold. Shame tied to your name is breaking off. I'm clearing the atmosphere so your children and their children won't fight the giants you slayed in secret. You said yes when no one clapped. You showed up when nothing changed. That faith, that grit, that quiet sacrifice became seeds of a spiritual revolution. A lineage of blessing is forming because of your resilience. You are becoming the turning point story. It shifted when they refused to quit. I'm giving you more than healing. I'm giving you heritage. I'm redefining inheritance in your house. Fear will not be passed down. Faith will. Confusion will not linger. Clarity will. Brokenness will not lead. Wholeness, joy, truth, and divine order will. You stood when others bowed. You believed when others ran. Now I lift you, not just for you, but for the generations watching what it looks like to trust me without compromise. Your whispered prayers are building bridges your descendants will cross with ease. They will know peace not because life was simple, but because you paid the price in persistence and prayer. You will see fruit in your days and beyond, through the ripple of transformation that flows long after. When they ask what happened, the answer will be simple. Someone stood in faith, and the Lord changed everything. That someone is you, and this is only the beginning. While you waited in stillness with lifted hands and no visible shift, while your faith whispered yes through aching uncertainty, heaven moved for you. You have not been praying into an echo. Every word, sigh, and silent tear has been received in heaven. I have dispatched angels on assignment with your name. They are not wandering. They move with precision, speed, and power. You may not hear their wings, but you will feel the atmosphere change. They carry more than answers. They carry fulfillment. They bring the manifestation of what your heart cried out for in secret. They are arranging divine setups, touching hearts that do not know you yet, unlocking places you've not walked, creating access to what was sealed until now. Silence does not mean nothing is happening. More is happening than your natural eyes could hold. This is not delay, it is delivery in transit. You asked, you knocked, you waited. Now my word has activated angelic movement. What's being carried to you was created for you, tailored to your need, saturated in my will, wrapped in my timing. Your name has been spoken in rooms where destiny is decided. Your file has been opened before me, not because you demanded it, but because your faith moved me. I have said, go, and they go. Strategic, strong, unstoppable. These angels are not coming to soothe, but to complete, to finish what I started, defend what I spoke, bring what was delayed into the now. Prepare, not by striving, but by expecting. Clear a room in your spirit for what is arriving. Make space in your mind for the magnitude of what I've released. When it lands, it will not be partial but full. When it arrives, it won't be common. It will carry weight. You will not question if it is from me. You'll know because peace will walk in before the door opens. I have lifted your name with my own hand. Angels are moving with your miracle, your provision, your confirmation. They are not coming empty. They are carrying even what you forgot you asked for. Soon the unseen will collide with your reality. Not because you forced it, but because heaven remembered your name. There were things that looked right but lacked my breath. There were wide doors that stirred unease because I never called you to enter them. Not every opportunity was anointed. Not every offer was from me. Though it hurt to let them go, you chose obedience over appearance. You listened to my whisper instead of chasing imitations of my promise. I saw the counterfeits dressed like provision, but empty of peace. I watched imitation relationships distract from covenant ones. Temporary fixes tried to take the place of what I'm building to last. The enemy tried to rush you into settling. He sent lookalikes designed to wear you down, steal wonder, drain hope. I stepped in. I blocked what you didn't know would break you. I shut down what you thought you needed, not to withhold, but to protect what is sacred. What I am preparing cannot be duplicated. What I am about to release will not force you to shrink or twist yourself to make it work. I am not sending replicas. I am releasing the real. The people I'm aligning will see your value without fearing your purpose. The places I'm calling you will carry oil that matches your anointing. You won't have to pretend or perform. Grace will return to your atmosphere like ease. I am removing noise that sounded like me but lacked my nature. No more counterfeit blessings that crumble under pressure. No more relationships that cost your peace. No more positions that demand your soul for visibility. You were made for more than imitation. You were designed for manifestation. Now I clear the path, expose false doors, and seal routes that lead to less than what I promised. This is not rejection, it is refinement. I am separating the real from the fake, the divine from the distracting. What remains will carry my mark. You won't have to guess, it will resonate in your spirit. The right doors will open and remain open. The right voices will bring clarity. The right moments will unfold without confusion or compromise. I am removing what mimicked my move so you can receive what I reserved for your name alone. The waiting wasn't wasted, it was a filter. Now the real rises, and it is better than you imagined. The curtain dropped, the silence grew heavy. You watched moments slip away and thought it was your final scene. You grieved chapters that ended too soon, doors that closed before you stepped through, people who left without a word. Everything in you whispered, "This must be the end." But I was not writing a conclusion. I was preparing a beginning so divine it required the removal of everything that doesn't belong ahead. You mistook stillness for a closed page. I was letting the ink dry before I turned to the part where everything changes. I don't recycle old endings. I create holy origin points from what others call finished. What you buried, I am resurrecting. What you left, I am reintroducing with new purpose. The stage is not abandoned. It is being redesigned. As the lights rise, I call you forward. Not as who you were, but as who I've shaped you to be all along. You thought the credits were rolling. They were resetting the scene. You are not exiting. You are emerging. This is your moment of reintroduction. The old narrative of loss, failure, silence, and delay is interrupted by my voice. You are not picking up where you left off. You are starting fresh, with new strength, deeper roots, and clarity forged by breaking. This time, you don't need to explain how you arrived. Let the fruit speak. Let the fire speak. Let the peace that follows you testify that I never stopped writing. You will enter rooms that assumed they'd seen your last. The atmosphere will shift, not because of your name, but because of the anointing that rests on you. This beginning will be undeniable. It will echo and ripple. Even those who left during the ending will be unable to deny your rise. You are not circling back. You are stepping onto a new path paved with grace and marked by my fingerprints. This is the beginning that changes everything. As you step into this chapter, know this: no part of your pain was wasted. No portion of your story is lost. I used it all. Now I speak with final authority. This is not your end. This is the first scene of greater glory. They aimed arrows hoping you would fall. They twisted truth to crack your character. They forged words in the dark to wound you. What they intended to break you, I am repurposing to build you. You didn't always see it, but every attack stirred heaven's response. Each dart gave me reason to raise a standard. The lies, betrayal, and silent battles were real, but never final. I did not allow them to destroy you. I allowed them to reveal what cannot be shaken. What drained you will now empower you. What felt like a blade at your throat will become proof that you were forged in fire and covered by glory. You do not need to retaliate, I already responded. Not with vengeance, but with victory. Not with wrath, but with recompense. I am turning every plan formed against you into a stepping stone, into rooms they said you'd never enter. The pressure they created becomes fresh oil on your life. The heartbreak meant to silence you becomes the platform that amplifies your voice. This is not revenge, it is redemption. I am rewriting the narrative not just to vindicate you, but to glorify my name in the aftermath. They wanted you smaller. Now you are expanding. They locked doors. Now I am building you gates. What they thought would be your collapse becomes evidence that I dwell with you. You are not rising in spite of the weapons, they are fueling your ascent. The tears they caused watered the soil where I've planted a harvest of strength, grace, and favor. I do not waste warfare, I use it. Every shot, every whisper, every shadow becomes fire in your bones. You will rise with such clarity that those who hoped you'd vanish will wonder how you made it through. You will know it was not accident or force. It was my hand, my covering, my strategy. You never needed to defend yourself. I was your defense. As you rise, don't look back in bitterness. Look forward in boldness. Weapons once aimed at you now lie in ruins behind you, while my glory paves a path no enemy can block. What I'm releasing will not fit human reasoning. It will not hinge on connections, resources, or platforms. It will be undeniably divine. I am placing a mark on you that no critic can explain, no opposition undo, no force replicate. Those who watched you struggle, whispered your name, or walked away while you were in the fire will be the same ones left speechless as I pour favor like rain on scorched earth. I am not only restoring what was lost, I am multiplying what was sown in suffering. This favor will not be subtle. It will be seen, not for vanity, but for vindication, not for show, but for glory. I saw you labor in silence while others ran ahead. I saw you faithful in obscurity while others stood in spotlights. Now I reverse what they assumed permanent. They thought you would not rise. They forgot who writes your story. My favor isn't fair. It is favor. When it finds you, it shifts everything. You won't have to knock. Doors will open before you arrive. You won't have to explain. Your fruit will speak louder than words. They will try to calculate, but there is no equation for this. This blessing bypasses logic and releases what eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard. Contracts will be handed to you that you didn't campaign for. Tables will be set in rooms where your name was once mocked, and you will not rise with arrogance. You will rise with awe. The favor I'm releasing will lift you and silence every accusation. Mouths that spoke against you will be hushed by the magnitude of what I do through you. I am making a spectacle of your victory, not to shame them, but to show that I still choose the humble, the quiet, the overlooked, the wounded, and raise them in ways that leave no doubt. Your story is shifting from overlooked to undeniable, from underestimated to unforgettable. You are not rising alone, you are rising wrapped in glory. My hand is on you, and that is enough to dismantle every attempt to stop you. Walk forward. Do not flinch when doors fly open. Do not question blessings that come quickly. This is not luck. It is design. The favor coming now will shake everything that tried to stand in your way. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks. From $50 to $100, you have wept over ashes, sat in ruins, tried to gather broken pieces with trembling hands. The loss cut so deep it tried to write your identity. People saw the smile, I saw the ache. You mourned not just things, but seasons, dreams, relationships, opportunities gone before they could bloom. Hear me, I allowed what you lost not to punish you, but to prepare you. What's coming will not just replace, it will restore with overflow. I will not give a copy of what left. I will give what is measured by heaven and designed so well that yesterday's absence makes sense in today's abundance. You did not lose because I forgot you. You lost because I cleared the ground for something greater. Some things had to go, so what is pure, enduring, and eternal could grow. The harvest I've prepared would not have survived among the weeds you held on to. I'm giving more than compensation. I'm giving clarity. You will see why it had to be this way. You will understand why doors closed, and you will thank me. What I place in your hands will not only fit, it will flourish. It will bring peace where the past brought pressure. Joy that is not temporary, rooted, lasting, holy. I am giving beauty with weight, favor that doesn't fade, increase that doesn't exhaust. Loss taught you to let go. Now I will teach you to receive. Not with fear that it will vanish, not with guarded suspicion, but with open trust. Because this time it rests on my foundation. The loss was loud, but the gain will be louder. You will walk into rooms where nothing from your past can follow. All you will carry is my goodness. You will look back without bitterness, only awe. I am not just restoring what left, I'm multiplying it beyond what you asked. You thought the chapter closed with loss. I am writing a volume of redemption. Get ready to receive what no one expected. The exchange is happening now. Release what is gone. Your hands must be free for what's next. You grew used to the background. You served quietly, healed in the shadows, prayed through your own breaking while speaking life to others. You did not chase stages or applause. You wondered if you were even called to visibility. While you shrank to feel safe, I grew your roots to handle what's coming. I am not elevating you for ego. I am positioning you for impact. You endured private refining because the assignment I'm unveiling will place you where others look, listen, and follow. This spotlight is not about status, it is stewardship. It is not about being seen, it is about what will be seen through you. I am raising your voice not so you are heard, but so my heart is known through your life. The purity formed through rejection and restraint is why you're ready now. You will not point to yourself, you will point to me. When the light finds you, it will be clear it was never your strength, strategy, or self-promotion. It was grace carried by mercy and established in obedience. You did not chase the opportunity, that is why I can trust you with it. Those who seek exposure often collapse under it. You let me build capacity in secret. Now I make the announcement, not with noise, but with weight. You will find yourself in rooms you never applied to enter. Invitations will arrive without warning. Voices of influence will lean in to hear what you've carried all along. When they ask how, your answer will be, God brought me here. You are not lifted to entertain, you are sent to shift atmospheres. The spotlight you feared becomes the place where oil flows. What once terrified you will feel like home because I made you ready. Layer by layer, moment by moment, you are prepared. You will be surprised how natural it feels because it was never about fame. It was always about faithfulness. Now I illuminate what I hid. I elevate what I refined. You were born for this, not to perform, but to carry purpose. The weight I place on you will not crush you, it will crown you. You will not crumble under the light, you will glow with glory. This is not the world's light. It is heaven's light, shining through a vessel who stayed low, stayed true, and stayed with me. They planned carefully, smiles hiding sharp motives, opportunities masked as invitations, words designed to lure you into confusion, delay, and defeat. What they set for your harm, I saw before they began. While they whispered in secret, I orchestrated your escape. You did not realize how many traps sat on your path because I rerouted you just in time. What looked like sudden changes, unexpected closures, or painful removals were my hand pulling you back before the snare snapped. You were not rejected. You were rescued. Now what they intended to bury you in will become soil where your testimony takes root. I am turning what tried to silence you into a loud declaration of my faithfulness. The betrayal that stripped you will clothe others in truth. The manipulation that bent your identity will become a mirror showing how clearly I preserved you. The pain meant to chain you is becoming the key that frees others still stuck. I do not let traps prosper, I transform them into platforms. You will speak not from vengeance, but victory. Those who mocked your fall will be drawn when they see you stand, untouched by what was meant to ruin you. Not one trap succeeded because my angels camped around you. Every snare that closed was followed by my release. Now I call you to share, not bitterness, but breakthrough. Your story is a signal to those still navigating dark terrain. They'll hear what you endured and find hope. They'll see what meant to destroy and realize it couldn't dent my promise in you. The very people who built the trap will have front row seats to your rise. Not to humiliate them, but to show what grace looks like when it defends the humble. This is not revenge. It is the revelation that I get the final word. You do not need to expose or explain. I have done it through the fruit in your life. Stand tall, not because you were untouched, but because under my covering you were untouchable. Let the trap turn. Let the story be told. Let freedom ring through your life in a way no plan of the enemy can mute. You looked at the calendar and wondered if I forgot. You counted months with heavy hope, waiting for doors to open, promises to manifest, momentum to break the stillness. Each time you thought, this must be it, the path bent, the door stayed shut, the chance dissolved. You questioned your prayers, discernment, and place. I was never late. I was layering purpose beneath every pause. I shielded you from what you didn't yet have the strength to discern. The delay you hated was me building firewalls between you and things that looked good but carried poison. You didn't see the storm waiting behind what you begged me to release. I did. So I withheld. Not because you were unworthy, but because you are irreplaceable. The detours were not random. They were hidden routes away from danger that looked like opportunity. The person you thought was your future, I removed them because they would have stolen your peace. The job you almost took would have drained your soul and suffocated your calling. The open door that slammed last minute was bait, not blessing. I did not bring you this far to let you be baited into bondage. I am not only the God who gives, I am the God who guards. I have guarded you fiercely, even when you did not understand. The path has not been straight, but it has been sacred. I walked with you through every curve, whispering when to wait, when to shift, when to move. You were not stuck, you were being staged. While you felt left out, I built something without cracks. I do not hurry, I build in holiness. The detours you labeled as delays were deliverance in disguise. Now time is catching up with your obedience. What I prepared in the background meets your readiness. The moment you thought you missed is circling back with more weight, clarity, and fire than you imagined. Trust the map I used. Trust the time I chose. You did not fall behind. You're arriving with evidence. The pause you hated will become the part of your story others cling to when they wonder if my delays have purpose. Yes, they do. Your life is proof. You've walked through a stretch that tested every fiber. You carried burdens no one saw, held responsibilities that tried to pull you apart, and stayed standing when your knees begged to give out. You looked for relief but found only multiplied pressure. Still, you kept moving. Hear me. Your endurance has not gone unnoticed. Every invisible burden, every hidden battle, every breathless prayer for strength has echoed in heaven. You were not ignored. You were strengthened, not with loud might, but with quiet resilience formed deep where no one else can reach. I built something in you that only pressure can produce. Now I shift it. I replace weariness with wind. I exchange heaviness for holy help. You will not walk into the next season with the same drained strength. You are not just refueled, you are renewed. Not by sleep alone, but by my spirit rising within you. This strength doesn't only restore, it revives. It lifts your head when your arms cannot. It speaks peace when thoughts race. It calms panic with a whisper, I am here. This strength breaks yokes, not the strength of muscle, but of my might. I'm sending reinforcements to carry what overwhelmed you. I'm surrounding you with people who will hold up your arms when yours tire. I'm filling your lungs with breath that feels like courage. You won't have to pretend you're okay. I am making you whole. When others wonder how you didn't fall, quit, or collapse, your life will testify. It wasn't grit, it was grace. The strength I give is steady, not sudden. It sustains, it stabilizes. It empowers you to do what felt impossible. I don't just give strength for a day, I give strength for destiny. You will mount up with wings like eagles, not because you pushed harder, but because I lifted you higher. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. You will walk and not faint. You will run and not grow weary, not because you're invincible, but because I am intimately involved. You are not carrying this alone. The heaviness is breaking. A lifting has begun. From here, strength won't be something you chase. It will be something you carry. What I prepared is not waiting for permission. It has expected your arrival. While you wrestled with, am I enough? Does my voice matter? Does my story hold weight? I went ahead. I laid foundations in places you've never stepped. I spoke your name to leaders, decision makers, and gatekeepers you've never met. They may not know your face, but they feel a pull toward your purpose. Your name has gone ahead, not by reputation but revelation, not by popularity but promise, not by hustle but by my hand. These rooms are not for competition, they are carved for covenant. You are not entering to beg for a place. You are being summoned. The environment has been shifted to receive your anointing. I did not ask you to force the way. I asked you to follow me. You walked the hidden seasons with integrity. Now I open doors where your name has already been whispered with honor. You won't need to prove yourself. The atmosphere will confirm you were sent. Favor will announce what humility protected. You are not walking into strange spaces. You are stepping into divine setups. These moments will feel familiar. Your spirit has already stood there by faith. What I showed you in dreams is becoming your daily reality. Those who once overlooked you will witness my word fulfilled in real time. Tables that once had no seat for you will feel incomplete without your voice. The invitations coming are not favors, they are fulfillment. Not charity, but calling. You will not have to raise your voice to be heard. The authority I placed on you will speak before you do. Every room you enter has been marinated in my presence. so what I deposited in you is honored and not handled carelessly. You waited long and waited well. Now comes the unveiling. Now comes the moment where alignment meets timing. You will walk in and know, I was made for this, not with pride, but with purpose. The assignment is ready. The people are ready. The moment is now. You are not intruding, you are arriving. Heaven echoes as you enter. We've been expecting you. Battles formed behind the veil, aimed at your calling, clarity, and core. The enemy was not after your possessions. He was after perception. He tried to confuse identity, blur vision, and tangle discernment until you doubted the path I set. While you slept, wept, and carried heavy responsibility, I stood guard. I stationed angels where you felt vulnerable. I shut doors he tried to pry. I set fire around what you hold dear. Not only people, but promises. What you thought was silence was strategy. I didn't explain because I was protecting your focus. Had you seen how close the arrows came, fear would have frozen you. So I stepped in. I rerouted what was meant to collapse your mind. I confused the enemy's camp with my voice and buried traps before your feet could find them. The delay you couldn't explain was my hand covering what wasn't ready. The resistance was not punishment, it was preservation. I fought for you in places you hadn't entered yet. Now I pull back the curtain, not to show the enemy's plan, but to reveal my power. You will soon see why you could not settle. Why I removed people you thought were permanent. Why I blocked what you begged me to bless. I saw what you couldn't and said no. Not in anger, but mercy. I preserved your purpose. I protected your sensitivity. I hid your oil until it was safe to pour. What looked like delay was defense. You didn't lose ground, you were insulated. You are about to step where the enemy swore you'd never go. When you arrive, you'll carry blessing and revelation. You'll know I don't only bless in public, I shield in secret. You were covered by unseen victories. Now I move you forward with clarity born from what never touched you. You are not broken, you are protected. You are not late, you are guarded. You are still here, not because you avoided battle, but because I won wars for you before you knew they began. There are treasures buried in you. Insight, wisdom, layers of anointing that stayed dormant not because you weren't ready, but because the world wasn't. I kept these gifts concealed under obedience, humility, and quiet endurance. While others showed what they had too soon, I nurtured in you what only flourishes under pressure. These gifts are holy. They were covered until now while the atmosphere aligned and the soil softened. Now I am activating what was sealed. You felt the stirring, unexpected words in your spirit, dreams returning with clarity, discernment sharpening. This is not imagination, it is awakening. This is not striving, it is unlocking. You will not have to force it, it will flow from presence, not performance. What was hard will feel natural. You will speak and heaven will echo. You will move and chains will break. You will touch and healing will follow. Not because of human status, but because of what I planted in secret places. The gifts I release are not for show, but for shift. To call dry bones to life and declare my word with precision and power. Some will be surprised at what rises in you. I will not. I have seen it all along. I am not giving you something brand new. I am revealing what has been there for such a time as this. These gifts will not arrive with noise, but with weight. You will not question your worth. You will carry too much truth to entertain lies. I am sweeping away comparison and clearing the fog of self-doubt. I am placing confidence rooted in what I already deposited. You are not stepping into foreign land. You are returning to a part of yourself that has waited to breathe. As it awakens, others will awaken. Your voice will activate dormant destinies. Your walk will blaze trails for the weary. Your presence will shift rooms, not by demand, but by fullness. This is your unveiling. What I awaken now makes it undeniable. You were never empty, only hidden. Now the world will see what I have always known. Something is changing not only within you, but around you. You may not see it yet, but your spirit has caught the signal. The tension you felt is not warfare, it is transition. The discomfort pressing your soul is not chaos, it is the cracking open of what was sealed for this season. I have issued a word in the unseen, and creation is responding. The spiritual ground under your feet is being reordered. Alignments are shifting, cycles are breaking, silent places are echoing with movement. This is not emotion, it is execution. What I spoke is being carried out by angels assigned to you. Chains that held you in delay are breaking midair. Strongholds resisting your progress are being disarmed. The fog is lifting. The weight is breaking. You are not imagining the shift. It is real, and it is me. My word does not return empty. What I decree, creation obeys. That is why doors that were indifferent now open toward your purpose. Conversations are stirring on your behalf without your request. Hearts are softening. Walls are coming down. Every force that resisted you is commanded to release you. I have declared enough. Enough delay, enough wondering, enough wrestling with promises you thought were far off. They are no longer pending, they are moving. This shift will touch everything connected to you. Those near you will feel the ripple. The land beneath your obedience will yield harvest. Places you walk will respond to the authority you carried all along and are now recognizing. This is not favoritism. This is fulfillment. Fulfillment brings friction, not because you're off track, but because old systems comfortable with your silence react to your voice. Do not misread resistance. It proves the atmosphere has changed. Heaven has spoken. The old must bow. You are being elevated, not by men, but by mandate. Not by force, but by fire. Walk boldly, stand firmly, speak clearly. The realm around you has been warned. Do not touch what I have blessed. The enemy noticed your shift before you did. That is why he tried to cloud your discernment. I am clearing your vision. You won't need external signs. You will feel it in your bones. Something has changed. What is opening now requires keys. It responds to presence, your presence, because I have gone before you, and the atmosphere knows you are here. There have been whispers in the dark, thoughts that wrapped around your peace, lies that crept in sounding like logic. Maybe you're not called. Maybe you misheard. Maybe it's too late. Maybe nothing changes. Subtle but relentless, they settled like conclusions. You began to lower hope to match disappointment. I have come to speak above the noise. I am not whispering. I am roaring truth over you. Those thoughts were not from me. The fog, the mental warfare, the spiraling questions, I am clearing them with my voice. I speak clarity where confusion ruled, identity where insecurity tried to live, alignment where distortion lingered. The lies you entertained are breaking under the weight of my word. I am not just giving peace, I am giving power to cast down every argument rising against what I've spoken. You are not losing your mind, you are getting it back. I bring stillness to the storm inside your head. You will not lie awake rehearsing outcomes that were never yours to carry. I am renewing your thoughts, not by straining for quiet, but by flooding your inner world with truth. Truth that anchors, truth that steadies, truth that makes chaos back away. Your mind is not a battlefield, It is a sanctuary, and I reclaim it. Lies planted in vulnerable seasons are being uprooted. I replace them with truth that transforms. You will recognize the enemy's voice before it finishes a sentence. Discernment is sharpening. The haze is lifting. The heaviness in your thoughts was not your burden. It was a spiritual war. The tide is turning, not through striving, but surrender. Let me speak louder than fear. Let my promises drown forecasts of failure. I do not speak in circles. I speak in completion. I say, you are sound, you are sane, you are sealed. Confusion that tried to undo you is retreating. Peace floods like a river. You will think clearly again, believe freely again, speak boldly again, not with fear, but with fire. My truth is not mere information, it is a sword, and I place it back in your hands. As you wield it, lies fall silent and fear fades. You've watched others celebrated and wondered if anyone saw what you carried. You served in silence, interceded unseen, stayed faithful when walking away seemed easier. You didn't chase titles or visibility. In doing so, you stepped into something heavier than public honor, divine authority. The mantle you carry wasn't given by applause. It was forged in the secret place. It was confirmed by private yeses, by your refusal to compromise, by quiet tears on unseen altars. I placed something on you before anyone saw it, and now it is coming alive in a way that demands response. This isn't elevation for ego. Heaven says now. I am activating what rested only because timing required maturity that comes through surrender. You surrendered. You let me refine you again and again. You accepted the crushing because you believed the oil was worth it. You let me prune while others produced. Now I place the full weight of your mantle, not to crush, but to crown. You will feel it not as burden, but as breath. You'll sense the shift, not because your name trends, but because your spirit moves differently. What once intimidated you will submit to the authority you carry. Rooms that ignored you will respond to your presence, not because you changed, but because I released what I held until now. The power is not in platform, but in purity. The mantle is not validated by men, but proven by fruit. The fruit you nurtured in the dark is ripening for harvest. Do not shrink, do not downplay. Do not defer. What I release through you will break yokes others could not see. Your words will carry sharpness. Your prayers will carry fire. Your steps will carry me, not as performance but posture. You are not self-appointed. You are chosen, called, commissioned. You don't need an announcement when heaven has assigned you. Those who overlooked you will see not your name, but my glory resting on what you touch. You are wearing a mantle, not borrowed or imitation, but original, woven in grace, soaked in fire, confirmed by obedience. It is time. You did not ask for this fire. You did not choose the pressure, grief, or inner battles that left no visible bruises but carved valleys inside. You endured loss words could not explain. You carried weights that made breathing a quiet miracle. Yet you survived, not by chance, but because I formed something sacred beneath the surface. While the world watched you wrestle, I watched you transform. You see scars, I see altars. You feel fatigue, I see foundation. The moments that threatened to break you became the place I planned unshakable authority. Not loud, but atmosphere shifting. Not demanding, but undeniable. Darkness trembles when you enter. Heaven responds when you speak. You don't realize the weight now on your life. You thought you were just making it through, day by day. I soaked every tear with purpose. You were never passing time. You were being built for territory. You will enter rooms where others have influence, but you will carry presence. You will speak softly, and demons will flee, not for tone, but for the power behind your words. You won't need to convince anyone of your calling. The fruit will announce you before you speak. The atmosphere will shift, because your survival wasn't just about living. It was about becoming a vessel that carries my glory without leaking. Now I give you power to not only endure but impart. You will speak into places others avoid. You will minister to wounds you understand. You will walk into chaos and create calm. It won't be a show, it will be overflow. Authority is not about volume, it's about victory. You gained it in secret. You earned it through surrender. You grew it through pain. Now the harvest begins. Not of applause, but impact. You didn't survive just to survive. You survived because what's inside you was never meant to die. Watch what I do with your ashes. See how I turn them into oil that flows with precision. People will ask where it came from. You will know it came from the places you survived. You will never apologize for the power again. I have seen it all. The wrongs you endured and kept quiet, the times you chose peace over defense, the moments you were misjudged and misunderstood. You stood with dignity while dust settled on your name. They moved on thinking they won, mistaking silence for surrender. Heaven recorded every injustice, not for revenge, but for vindication. I am not the God who overlooks pain. I restore what pain tried to steal. You did not miss your moment when they walked away. You did not lose value when truth was twisted. I watched, and now I step in, not with noise, but with undeniable authority. I restore what was taken. I redeem what was tainted. I rewrite outcomes tampered with by human hands. You are not foolish for holding to truth no one defended. You are not weak for choosing silence when the world demanded you prove yourself. That restraint was not cowardice, it was kingdom. Now I make up for every moment that broke you quietly. I am healing your heart and clearing your name. I am not only restoring reputation, I am multiplying honor that others tried to bury. I am breathing equity into the space around you. What was taken without cause is returning with interest. This is not revenge, it is righteousness. I will not let injustice write the last line of your story. I will not let manipulation have the last word. What was twisted is straightening. What was blocked is reopening. What was spoken to destroy you becomes the echo that amplifies my justice. You will stand where your truth is welcomed and celebrated. You will not need to defend it. I will. I will place evidence in your hands you never asked for. I will cause those who misread you to see clearly. You will know it was not your silence that made you small. Your restraint made you safe until this moment. Now I rule, now I restore, now I release what was withheld until the time was ripe. The fruit of this justice will be undeniable. You will not walk in with bitterness, but with balance. You will not carry grudges, you will carry glory. The same places that tolerated injustice will tremble under the weight of my truth shining through your story. This is my justice, and it is being delivered now. Amen.